thoughts running around my head. Been playing it cool, but I've been pulling the thread. Maybe I'm too hard on myself, and maybe it ain't good for my health. All I want is, all I want to feel your love. That's all I want. To feel your love. All I want is, been feeling the weight, don't wanna let it show. Looking up at the stars, 'cause I don't wanna feel low. Maybe I'm too hard on myself, and maybe it ain't good for my health. All I want is, all I want to feel your love. That's all I want. To feel your love. All I want is, all I want to feel your love.
STN Racing proudly presents the Four Corners Racing League. As we are here from Pocono Raceway in Pocono, Pennsylvania, Long Pond, Pennsylvania to be specific, as we get set to go for the Web 200 presented by Duck Press Media Solutions. Jacob Pitts, Hex Valentine here with you for the call. Zach Johnson, our producer for tonight, as always. And we have a lot of folks here. 33 drivers are lined up and ready to go. It's a very large field considering we are at Pocono, but this racetrack, Hex, should be able to handle all these guys. 2.5 miles, pretty wide, at least on the straightaways. These guys should be able to sprint out.
Yeah, I mean, with the straightaways, we're looking at about 5 lanes on the front stretch. Hopefully they don't get tangled up into turn 2. I've been keeping an eye out on the series that's been ran here at Pocono with the various trucks and cars, but I see a lot of people that get super aggressive into turn 2 end up just smacking each other out of the race. Hopefully they'll be able to keep calm, stay away from a lot of the contact, and hopefully we don't see too many cautions out there tonight. What are you thinking, Jacob?
to wait and see what happens. We know that cautions can be a factor, especially here in the Four Corners Racing League. Last couple of races, we've gone into overtime because of cautions, even if we do have a good run in the middle. So.
I think we lost you there, Jacob.
There we go. Let's try that. J.R. Houston, he lines up on the front row, bringing the Bubba Wallace 23XI Racing team home to a top 5 in yesterday's race here at Pocono on the pit box. He starts on pole here with Marcus Adams to the outside, Kyle Smalley in second, Calvin Allison in fourth. Okay, Marcus Adams second, Kyle Smalley third, Calvin Allison fourth. I can't read today, apparently. Jordan Weaver starts on the fifth starting spot. Zach Lindgren in sixth, Alexander Kroenke in seventh, Kyle Manger in eighth, Chris Worrell in ninth, and Joe Francis rounds out the top 10.
And in the 11th spot, we got Richard Likoa, Derek Lemke right next to him in the 12th spot, Colin Tuno, in 13th, Chris Reb right next to him in the 14th spot, Roder 15th, Olsen 16th, we got Cato in 17th, Hibbs in 18th, Heschel 19th, and we got Orlando Jr. in 20th, rounding up the 11th to 20th spots.
Michael Dorsey starts from 21st with Roberto Ramirez in 22nd, Jared Wishon 23rd, James Lowe 24th. Keith Smalley lines up 25th with Farrah Shaw to the outside in 26th, Brandon Lawless 27th, John Creighton in 28th, Lucas Strayer 29th, Jaron Hazen in 30th, Michael Elliott, Jesse Cottrell, and Holt Johnston round out the field of 33 here from Poconos. The field heads off into turn number 2. Final thought here, Hex, before we get the green flag.
Expecting some very close racing from these drivers today. To see a little bit of on-track carnage, possibly, especially with how badly you can wear out your tires here in Pocono. But I am extremely excited to see what these drivers could do with these cars and how far they're willing to push them tonight.
J.R. Houston picks the outside line here for the initial start. We got some folks lagging behind. The field's in turn 3. Holt Johnston in 33rd, just rounded the tunnel turn in turn 2. So this will be interesting to see if we can get everybody in the pack as we take the green flag. As there you see the 46 coming around Michael Elliott, but nonetheless, it's J.R. Houston and Marcus Adams leading us down to the green flag. Pace car is on pit road. Green flag's in the air. We are racing from Pocono. J.R. Houston on the gas, and he's clear as they make the trek towards turn 1.
And getting a good jump here at Pocono is very, very vital, because as soon as that pace car goes off, it's almost an instant green as soon as the drivers are ready to go. As we get right into turn 1, Houston still leading the pack. We got Adams and Smalley right behind him as they clear out turn 1. No damage, no drama there as they approach turn 2. I'm expecting a lot of either double-sided race, so I don't think they'll ever push it 3 wide here at Pocono, especially with just how tight turn 2 can be. As they round out turn 2, we still relatively clean as they are pushing their way onto turn 3. Houston still lead, Adams right behind him along with Smalley as they are approaching the front stretch.
J.R. Houston rounds the third turn. There is no fourth corner here at Pocono, and J.R. Houston's going to lead the opening lap, but Marcus Adams is still only well, he's right there. He's got a good draft on him heading to turn number 1. Marcus Adams peeking to the inside. Can't quite do it. Kyle Smalley in the third spot. Calvin Allison fourth. Here comes Jordan Weaver looking to the inside for the fifth spot as they come off at turn number 1. And right now, everybody single file for the most part. I got a couple people peeking out of line, most notably Kyle Manger and Roberto Ramirez. They're getting back in line now as they head to turn 2.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of single file as they approach these turns. There's not really a whole lot of opportunities to pass here at Pocono. I mean, like, your only one shot is mostly going to be the front stretch as the track just opens up, gets extremely wide. I mean, you could maybe make a move on the back stretch, but as soon as you think about it, next thing you know, you're approaching turn 2. As we see the number 23 car, Jordan Weaver, battling out. Oh, there they go, getting wide right there on the front stretch as we approach turn 1. You can see a lot of that field starting to push into that early battle. So we're starting to see a little bit of 3 wide, almost 4 wide here into turn 1.
Yeah, they're trying to get by Nick Olson. He got up and into the outside wall, and that's what caused him to get down way down on the front straightaway because he had lost so much momentum. He lost a good amount of spots because of it. Everybody kind of had to stack up behind him so they didn't run him over. He's now in the 16th spot in front of Kevin Orlando Jr. as we are bumper to bumper, nose to tail for the first 15 positions. It's still a 2-second gap from first to 15th, but everybody is pretty much tucked up underneath one another as they come through turn 3.
Yeah, I mean, the walls here are just like at any other track that we've covered here. There are going to be lots of bouncing off the wall. It's just that turn 1 is such a difficult first entry. A lot of drivers will either end up overshooting it and they get really close to that wall, trying to not scrape it. I mean, Pocono is definitely one of my favorite tracks to race on personally, but for a lot of drivers, I know they'd rather be somewhere else. As we approach the back stretch here, we still have Houston first, and a lot of good midfield battling going on here. There's still single file, trying to catch that track, trying to look for moves as they approach turn 2. So far, I think that everybody's just keeping it calm for now. No need to do anything too outrageous here as we're only on lap 4 as we catch the number 6 car here. He's moving past, looks for the inside, he gets it. He's going on. Worrell and Weaver battling it out here as we approach the front stretch.
Manger gets by Weaver as well. Trouble. Robert Rader around. Front straightaway. Caution is out. A little bit of contact between Robert Rader and another car coming off of turn number 3, and Rader could not hang on to it. And the first caution comes out on lap number 5. 4 laps complete under green with J.R. Houston out in front, and Robert Rader is a victim here for this first caution flag. We'll get a look at a replay. It was him and Richard Lekawa. Here's the replay. Lekawa gets a little wide, catches the outside wall, comes down the racetrack. Nowhere for Robert Rader to go.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that Pocono is not really a whole lot of opportunities to make your move. And a lot of stuff like that will just end up happening.
Another angle, as you can see. Lekawa just gets a little wide, chugs it dead left to keep it off the wall. And Robert Rader, he's doing the same thing, coming up off the corner. Not a lot of margin for error. And when the guy on the outside, if you make some mistake, you've got nowhere to go. So J.R. Houston is your race leader now. 5 laps complete as he'll come around to catch up to the pace car. And,
thankfully, it was just on the front stretch.
Yeah, where it is wide enough for him to get out of the way. So under our first caution. And we'll line up behind the pace car. We'll see what these guys try to do if they decide to pit. It's awfully early. 80 laps the distance here at Pocono. They can pretty much make it on one stop right around the halfway point. But perhaps they are saving fuel, so that way they have to wait a little bit longer to pit. So instead of pitting on lap 40, they can maybe pit on lap 43 or 44 to try and make it to the end. Plus, there's always that looming chance of a green-white checker. Yeah,
I'd be very surprised if they took tires here this early. I mean, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, we were only 5 laps in when or 4 laps in when the accident happened. So whoever got banged will most likely be going in, probably for a little bit of damage. But his car looked relatively clean when we looked at the replay. Just a little bit of paint scratches.
They've got 4 sets of tires in the pits if they need them. So, or I'm sorry, 5 sets of tires in the pits if they need them. So there is the potential that you can pit here and get tires, have fresher tires, but I have a feeling those folks that do that are going to be pretty far out compared to everybody else. There are only going to be a few of them. As here comes Kyle Smalley. Nope, he fools us. Francis Manger going to fool us as well. It's Anthony Colantuono that's going to come in, and he'll bring in about half a dozen cars or more. Chris Webb, Nick Olson, Kevin Orlando Jr., James Lowe, James Cato, Michael Dorsey is in, Casey Heschel is in, Jared Wishon, Roberto Ramirez, Strayer, basically everybody from 15th on back. So the top 14 stay out. Everybody else wants to pit road.
Genuinely surprised. I wonder if they're just getting small bits of fuel. Look, we're looking at a few tire changes as well here, probably mostly just the left side tires though. As we see 98 getting his tires changed. He's got a little bit of damage on his right side. Doesn't look too bad. Maybe something a sledgehammer can't fix, you know.
Well, it's a mixed bag. Most everybody just in their pit box for about 6-7 seconds or so. Lowe, Dorsey, Heschel, Hazen, Strayer, Ramirez, Creighton as well as Holt Johnston. Other than that, it looks like Kevin Orlando Jr. took 4. Jared Wishon took 4. Everybody else, it looks like either took 2, possibly with Cottrell and Elliott with a 10-second and a 12-second pit stop. Everybody else, the least damage repair in there, because most of them that needed damage fixed have been on there for 30 seconds or more.
Yeah, I was surprised to see some of the amount of damage some of those drivers had done. I mean, it looks relatively clean from where I'm sitting, but, you know, you can't see everything all at once.
Did see a couple people bounce it off the outside wall a couple times, especially coming off of turn number 3 in those first couple laps, which may be where we see some of that damage coming from. You know, you hit the outside wall here, you're going to sink through the field because aerodynamics are a big part of this racetrack.
Oh, absolutely, and that turn 3, it'll catch you off guard. If you overshoot, and there's no going back.
And flat sweeping turn number 3. Not a lot of banking to it. It's pretty much 1, maybe 1.5 lanes to it. Not a ton of grip in turn number 3 for these guys, and it's going to be a trouble spot all afternoon long as we get 1 lap to green. J.R. Houston again going to pick the outside line for the restart, which will relegate Marcus Adams to the bottom. Then it is Kyle Smalley, Calvin Allison, Zach Lindgren, your top 5. Joe Francis in 6th. Chris Worrell in the 7th spot with Kyle Manger to the outside. Derek Lemke, Jordan Weaver, round out the top 10.
And right behind him, Alexander Crane in the 11th, Lekoa in 12th, Shaw 13th, Hibbs 14th, and then we got Lowe in the 15th spot. Well, I'm hoping we could at least get a pretty decent restart. Hopefully everybody that pits remembers that they are on cold tires.
Top 14 stayed out. The top, well, from 15th to 21st, they were only on pit road for about 6 seconds. Not sure how much that's going to help them or hurt them. Don't think they took tires if they were only on pit road for that long, but you never know. Track temp 85 degrees, the air temp 78. It is cloudy here at the Pocono Raceway, so the sun is not completely baking the racetrack to death. The wind, the usual 2 mile an hour out of the north, humidity 55%. Here at Pocono as the field comes through turn number 3. Houston and Adams make up the front row once again. Pace car is going to look to get the heck out of the way as these guys get ready to come down the long front straightaway and get it up to speed before they make it to turn 1. So it's Houston and Adams on the restart. Pace car is in. Houston's on the gas, green flags in the air. Not a great start for Marcus Adams. Kyle Smalley right on the back bumper. Calvin Allison is looking on the high side. Doesn't have a ton of help, though, from Joe Francis.
Looks like we got a relatively decent restart from Houston as they get ready to approach the turn 1 here as we are on lap 9 of 80 here on to Pocono as we're seeing Houston probably going to end up leading lots of this race here as it's just going to mostly be coasting in single file for the time being.
Chris Worrell to the inside. They're going to go 3 wide back there as Kyle Smalley just wants to get the heck out of the way. Here comes Joe Francis around the top side off the turn 2. He will take that spot away and maybe more as they continue to head now towards turn number 3. Chris Worrell slides into the 6th spot. Kyle Smalley in 5th. And it is a hornet's nest pretty much outside the top 3 all the way down through the rest of the order.
Yeah, as we get closer and closer to that turn 3 spot, didn't see anybody smash against the wall just yet, as they're maybe taking it just a little bit more calmer this time round.
Back to turn 1. Here comes Kyle Smalley underneath Joe Francis for the 4th spot. Calvin Allison has this pretty much right on his back bumper as well as they come off turn 1 down the long pond straightaway. One of the longest straightaways in NASCAR right here, if not the longest, as it's still Francis and Smalley side by side in 2.
And as they get side by 2, he's going to be pushing him just a little bit here on the outside as his battle is looking to shape up to a pretty good one. As number 50, he's trying to break away, but I believe number 5 is going to be able to cut right into him into turn 3 here.
Here comes Chris Worrell around the outside. He's going to take the spot. He hits the outside wall. Kyle Smalley has to lift. Kyle Manger all over the back of him. A stack up off of turn number 3, but nonetheless, Kyle Smalley is pushing the 6 of Chris Worrell down the front straightaway to turn 1. Worrell sent it in there, made the mistake, got the outside wall, but he's able to hang on to the spot.
Yeah, I'm glad he was able to hold on to that, because that number 3 wall, I believe, is going to be eating a lot of cars up tonight as they approach the back straightaway with, Smalley and Worrell still battling it out as they approach turn 2. I believe he's going to end up making his move on the front stretch here.
Have to see what happens now. Manger looks to the inside of Smalley as they head to turn number 3. Actually, he's getting eaten alive by Zach Lindgren. Here comes Derek Lemke trying to look up the middle. Not enough room there, so Lindgren gets by. Lemke's going to get by around the outside. Manger's going to fall all the way back to 9th. As one car, I think it was Alexander Kroenke, bounced it off the fence in turn 3, but keeps it going. Didn't lose much time to everybody else. Back to 1.
Yeah, I saw a few cars collect that 3 wall, but they were able to keep it straight. You're going to see lots of right side damages. Hopefully not too much aero damage as they approach the back straightaway here. And I'm really, really happy with how clean they're keeping it tonight, relatively, as soon as they keep it off that 3 wall as we approach 2.
Worrell underneath Joe Francis. This is for 4th. As they come off of turn number 2, headed for 3. Casey Heschel over the radio apologizing for contact I believe he made with John Creighton. Not entirely sure what happened there in the back, but it sounds like it was Creighton and Heschel that made contact, and Creighton falls back now to 29th, while Heschel is in the 26th spot for the time being. Here comes Smalley. He pushes Chris Worrell to the inside in turn 1. He's going to hit Calvin Allison. He's going to spin him out. And they cannot save it. Lindgren piles it in. Big crash in turn number 1. They're still piling up on the bottom. They're not Gavin Hibbs around. Robert Rader piles it in. It's the big one in turn 1. They're still wrecking. Michael Dorsey gets collected in this. He bounces off of somebody. Right at the very end, it's Jaron Hazen. I think Chris Webb may have also got a smidge of damage as well. Michael Elliott involved. Ferris Shaw. I think he's the one with damage. Michael Elliott, I think, is all right, but it all started with the battle for 3rd. Chris Worrell just got pushed in a little too deep into turn 1, had nowhere to go but right into the rear quarter panel of Calvin Allison, and that turned this on its head.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate to see happen. We saw lots of good battles going into turn 1, but as you said, he just got a little too aggressive in there and ends up catching his left rear quarter panel and ends up taking him for a spin.
I mean, he got a shot from Kyle Smalley getting into the corner, and there you see there's nowhere to go because the apron's there. That's not going to help you. Lindgren piles it in and everybody else. There you see the 66 up the hill. So our replay system had a stroke on us there, but now here's the back of the field coming in towards where this wreck is going to happen. So here they are off of 3. The wreck's going to happen by the time they get to turn 1. You see Heschel back here. There you see Worrell getting pushed into the corner right here down the inside to get by Joe Francis. Smalley backs off and Worrell just sends it in too deep. There's the contact. Smalley gets by. Lindgren nowhere to go. Lemke nowhere to go. And then right here, they just start colliding. Jordan Weaver, Gavin Hibbs make contact. The 53 of Robert Rader gets a big amount of damage and then bounces it off the outside wall. The 84 of Ferris Shaw with the front clip demolished on that race car. Michael Dorsey got involved in it as well. He caught Calvin Allison right at the very end. Wishing got a piece, that's Hazen that got a piece of it at the end as well. So at least a half a dozen cars involved in this accident in turn number 1. Second caution of the day. Pits are open, and here come the leaders, but we do have a few staying out. Roberto Ramirez stays out, as well as Kyle Smalley. He will be the race leader. Alexander Kroenke stays out as well. Then it's Ramirez, Kevin Orlando Jr., Jared Wishon, Nichols, and Anthony Colantuono. And then it looks like everybody else is bringing their cars onto pit road.
Yeah, I believe that those that didn't get involved in the crash are going to see tire changes here. And just like, there's nowhere to go on turn 1. As soon as you get turned there, you might as well just be praying that you don't get T-boned.
Interesting strategy. Marcus Adams with a 6.3 second pit stop. J.R. Houston, well, he's still on pit road. He must have bounced it off the wall or something because he is still sitting there. 24 seconds, 25 seconds stop for J.R. Houston. Not a great one. He's going to lose a ton of track position, falling back to the 16th position. 14 laps are complete here at Pocono. We're going to go side by side. You won't miss a thing here under caution for the second time for the Web 200. Kyle Smalley, your race leader. Welcome back here to Pocono Raceway as we're under our second caution flag of the night. Kyle Smalley, the race leader. He is the second different leader of the event. J.R. Houston led the first 14 laps before coming onto pit road. He's going to restart in the 15th position after a slow pit stop for that 20 machine. He was on pit road for 25 seconds. The guy that was in second when the caution came out, Marcus Adams, he was only on pit road for 6.3. So some interesting strategies are brewing. Kyle Smalley and Alexander Kroenke, the front row, they're the only two folks that
As Jacob was saying, they were the only two folks that did not pit. As we are approaching the front stretch here, pace car about to go in. As we come back off of our second restart, Kyle Smalley, race leader, and Kroenke right off to his inside as they are approaching turn 1.
Okay, that was fun. The internet died on me. Green flags in the air. We're underway.
You must be under a storm.
Kevin Orlando Jr. sideways. He can't save it. Back across the field. Caution flags out. Colin Tuono around. James Lowe around. Into the inside wall, Chris Webb. Kyle Manger's spot sideways. And they make it not even a lap, and the caution flag is back out at Pocono. Good for my sake, because that means that I can get back into the sim here, hopefully. But a caution for the third time tonight, and it starts in the top 2. Kevin Orlando Jr., the first car sideways.
I believe it was just a little bit of a race incident. I think they just forgot they were on cold tires because they were getting real close as they were exiting turn 1. As we see Ramirez get into Orlando Jr. here, just side by side, and he's unable to save it. As he takes 98 with him, turns sideways. See who else gets in there. 59.
68, I know, got a piece of it as well. 24, Nick Olson bounced off of him. Those at the back were able to get it woed down for the most part, having to take the bumpy apron there. As you see, Ramirez makes the move 3 wide to get by Kroenke. He sinks like an anchor, but Ramirez just drives it in too deep. Just pitted, but not enough as he gets into Orlando Jr. And you see Lowe pile in as well. Got people pretty much jumping down the back straightaway over all the bumps on the infield. Gavin Hibbs around. This is his second accident in a row. As again, about half a dozen cars or more pile in coming off of turn 1.
Chris Webb really took a chunk out of Ramirez trying to avoid him onto the second straight, but there was just nowhere for him to go, as all you could see were just smokes, cars, and debris. Third caution of the night. You gotta wonder if Smalley's gonna go back in there since he skipped out along with Ramirez, but no question Ramirez is going back into the pits, no doubt about that.
Have to see what happens. Come off turn 3. Smalley will stay out, as will Kroenke. Olsen will come in. Basically, everybody involved in the accident going to come in. Everybody else, for the most part, going to stay out on the racetrack.
Yeah, we got Colin Pocono in there, Worrell, Smalley, Orlando Jr., Lowe, Kyle Manger's in there, Michael Dorsey's in there as well, Nick Olsen in there as well too. We got even more drivers coming into the pits as well. And I believe for a lot of those drivers, those who did not take tires on the previous caution are going to be taking it here. As you said, we are seeing a lot of interesting pit strats out here today, Jacob.
Going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out as we are closing in on a quarter of the way through the race. 80 laps the distance, only 200 miles. And right now we are 2 laps away from the quarter mark. So right now, Kyle Smalley is the race leader. Roberto Ramirez in second. Alexander Kroenke in third. You see Ramirez blinking in and out a bit. I believe it's Casey Heschel in the 4th spot right now. Can't quite tell who's in 5th since I'm going off the broadcast feed. Of course, ticker will tell me here in a second. Joe Francis in the 5th spot, and actually that's Jared Wishon in 4th, not Casey Heschel. Then it's Adam Strayer, Olsen, Lekola, and of course I missed who was in 10th. But that's our top 9 for the time being. J.R. Houston is in the 10th spot, who has led the most laps thus far, and we're probably going to get 1 lap to green here.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I believe only one person in our top 10 spot is are not lapped down as we go from 10 below. Seeing lots of 1 lap down behind as I see Houston, Heschel, Elliott, Johnston, Creighton, Lemke, Weaver, Shaw. They're all lapped down according to my standings notes that I got here.
With 20 laps complete on the restart. And I think they're waiting for somebody else to come by to unlap themselves here. And then we'll get double file since they're single. Actually, no, wait. Isn't this the rule change thing? That we're going to do a single file restart because we couldn't? Yep, okay. So because we had a caution right after a caution, this will be a single file restart. I don't know when we're switching back to double file restart because the only time that we had this happen at Nashville last week was at the end of the race with green-white checkers, and it didn't matter because we made it through that second green-white checker without any incident. So we're pretty much going to learn here with you once we get the green flag. If we can make it a lap, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully with the single file race line restart here that they'll be able to just keep it smooth into turn 1, but I have a feeling they might take it 3 wide and try to risk it here.
All right. Excuse me, into turn 3. Here we go. Kyle Smalley and Bolton Ramirez are in the top 2 spots. They're going to be nose to tail here on the restart. Pace car makes the hard left turn on pit road. And green flag's back in the air. We are back underway here from Pocono. Let's see how far we can make it.
As we got somebody heading into the... Oh, they almost clipped the wall in the backstretch. I believe that's Robert Roeder back there, but he finds his way back in the single file line as we approach turn 1 here. Seeing lots of 3 wides and 2 wides here.
Raider already 3 laps down. The only car a lap down, and look at everybody fan out 2 and 3 wide down the long pond straightaway. Here comes Wishon looking underneath, but Marcus Adams hauling the momentum around the outside. He's going to take the spot away. Trouble in the back. Oh boy, big one again. That's Hazen involved. Chris Worrell involved. Nick Olson is involved. Chris Webb, Gavin Hibbs in another one. Another huge crash coming off of, this time off of turn 2. Cato involved. Jordan, I'm forgetting his last name because I don't have it up in front of me. The 23, Jordan Weaver, he's involved. Caution number 4 on the night. Replay.
I believe Jordan Weaver's without his front bumper.
Yep, and it was Weaver getting run over by the 40 of Jaron Hazen, and everybody else piles in. Brandon Lawless involved. Manger misses it. Webb cannot. Colin Tuono cannot. Kevin Orlando Jr. involved as well. So this one, I think a 10-car pileup coming off of 2. There you see one of the Lowe's cars bouncing it off the fence.
Yeah, I believe you're right, my friend. I believe that was a 10-plus car pileup. And I believe with turn 2, it's almost a little deceptively wide when you're going in almost 3-4 wide like that. You're going to end up collecting somebody and spinning them out. And unfortunately, what we saw here, 10-plus car pileup, as we're just seeing T-bone after T-bone here.
I'm wondering if the 40 of Hazen just didn't expect him to lift that early, and that's what caused the contact, because it was awfully early getting into the corner where that contact was made. It's not like it was made at center or exit. It was made almost at the start of turn 2.
Yeah, I'm unsure of what really happened. I think it was like you said, Jacob, just an unexpected lift, and driver didn't see it coming. Next thing we know, we got number 6. He's without his front bumper. 23's without his as well, as we go under, I believe, what is our 4th caution of the night.
All of this going to help Kyle Smalley, though. Still has yet to pit. Has a lot of caution laps to help save fuel nonetheless, as it looks like most everybody going to stay out except for those that were involved in the accident. So 4th caution of the day here at Pocono, just past a quarter of the way through the race.
Yeah, and the one thing about Pocono, I'm getting lots of flashbacks for the Darlington track, where it's really going to be a war of attrition. Who can keep their car the cleanest and stay out of those big one wrecks that we've had? We've had 2 of them so far, and hopefully they'll be the only 2 we have for the rest of the night.
Have to wait and see. We know the saying, cautions breed cautions. So far, that has been the theme of the last 10 laps.
That they do, Jacob, that they do.
So we're going to go side by side as I load back into the sim, and just to kill some time here at Pocono, we'll step aside. You won't miss a thing, though. We'll be back right after this.
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. The pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
Welcome back, everybody. We are back here at Pocono, Four Corners Racing League. We are at lap 24 of 80 here, as we have Kyle Smalley in the front, Ramirez right behind him, Cranky third, Price is fourth, and Adams is your top 5, as we are going to another single file restart here at Pocono.
All right.
We are once the green this time by.
No, we're coming green this time by.
I apologize.
Now you're all good. I wasn't sure if you could hear me or not.
Oh yeah, we hear you, Jacob. You are loud and clear, just as loud as these cars as we are approaching turn 1. Smalley in the lead, Ramirez right behind him. And
Caution.
caution.
For what? Thrown by the admins. Is it raining? It is Pocono after all.
I don't see any water droplets on the track. Maybe somebody threw a shoe.
Oh boy. Is there wildlife on the racetrack or something? All right, well, we'll wait for an answer on that. Meanwhile, nothing's changed. Kyle Smalley continues to lead. They got to go all the way back around now to catch up to the pace car.
I believe Robert Roeder has black flags that need to clear. I believe race control is taking care of that right now, as I'm trying to listen into what they are saying here.
And the black flags couldn't be cleared after we went back racing?
I'm unsure. I have my radio muted from race control. Let me try to tune in here.
Alrighty, well, 25 laps are complete. And no change up at the front because we only made it about 5 feet before the caution flag came back out. So now the whole field's got to go back around to catch up to the pace car, which is somewhere on the back straightaway. Pace car's already in turn 2. That shows what I know. He was on the back straightaway. Pace car's already in turn 3. They're flying in that pace car.
Yeah, I couldn't quite listen in on race control on why they threw the admin caution. I should have had my radio unmuted, but we need to make sure I was hearing everything up here in the broadcast booth as well. I guess lesson learned to keep my radio on during these times. I believe it was something to do with the single file restart. I'm hearing a little bit of commotion about it.
So not liking how the restart was lined up. That would make sense. Oh, no. We got the official word from race control. Fat fingered it. It was an oops. It was a mistake. A gaffe. Wasn't supposed to happen, but it did, and we got to live with it. So put an asterisk in the record book for that caution flag, because it doesn't really count in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, it could be worse. They could have pulled a MSRA where they completely had kicked somebody out from the race and had to make a whole new session for it, so...
So the official verdict was he went to clear the black flag, presumably of Raider, and he hit the caution button instead. So, oops.
Oops,
and we are
indeed.
doubled up now. Doubled up now, ready for the restart. Excuse me. I don't know why, but my push-to-talk is just constantly on. We'll look into this here. I'll look into it. Well, it makes life easy, except for moments like this. It was, okay, there we go. We're back. Kinda. iRacing is back up and working on my screen. Let me hit the button.
Pace car is in
Here and Kyle Smalley. Kyle Smalley is off and rolling as they head down to turn 1.
Hopefully we don't get any more surprise cautions here. We see Smalley taking it the inside line into turn 1 as they're getting a little bit on the 3 wide and on the exit of turn 1 as they're heading down the back straight, and caution. Oh, somebody's on their roof. That would be the 98. Anthony Colantuno is on his roof. Smoke's coming out of his engine. Let's see what happened here. As he just sends it in a little too hard. He catches number 24, bounces right off that wall. Does his best impression of a McTwisty here, going for the full 900, and does not stick the landing. He's on his roof. As he grabs Nick Olson here, and luckily nobody else. Unsure of what happened, might have just lost it onto turn 1. As we are under yet again another caution here at Pocono. Oh, he believe 83 pushes him, and now he's got a little bit of wing damage here. As Lawless might have pushed, I believe he did end up pushing Anthony. And that's why he ended up catching Nick Olson and ended up on his roof.
So it's Anthony Colantuno. He winds up on his head. And that's going to bring out the 6th caution flag of the night. And Kyle Smalley continues to lead the way here from Pocono.
Yeah, I believe he was just getting ran over there on the turn 1 and ended up getting pushed a little too hard.
You know a race is interesting when the drivers have to say that the broadcast has got to be running a lot of commercials because of the amount of cautions. Kyle Smalley apologizes over the radio to us about this race, but I don't think it's been too bad. Of course, my computer's been a dumpster fire since the drop of the green flag, but it's all right. It happens to the best of us. Kyle Smalley continues to lead the way. We're almost at the halfway point, 10 laps away from the halfway point. We are out of commercials, so let's talk about what's upcoming. FTF, Saturday Night Super Speedway League Acceptance on Fridays, is back. July 16th, Talladega, 9 o'clock Eastern. It's back. Then, the Four Corner Racing League All-Star Race, at some point. We don't know when that is. And then after that, we're back with the Four Corner Racing League at the Indianapolis Road Course on August 16th.
Boy, that all-star race at Indy sounds like a treat. I'm going to definitely be in the stands watching that one for sure. Or, excuse me. I apologize, I misheard you.
I thought it was the road course, not the oval. Now I'm getting told it's the oval. Okay, so the All-Star race is the oval. The legitimate race on August 16th that we're covering is the road course. That makes sense.
Well, at least they won't have to go anywhere if it's both at Indy. As I believe they're getting ready for single file restart here.
Sounds like we'll have Robert Rader joining us here at some point. Just got a message from him. He's dead on the racetrack, not literally. And it sounds like he's interested in hopping in and joining us at some point. So we'll hear from him as the race rolls on. As we are a little more than a half a lap away from the green flag.
Yeah, I'm sure we can pull him in here next caution. As we have Smalley first, and Alexander right behind him in second, Ramirez third, Adams fourth, Francis fifth, Strayer sixth, Wishing seventh, Lekawa eighth, Elliott ninth, and Lemke is your top 10 here at Pocono. 50 to go. We are starting to approach our way to the third turn here. It always catches me a little off guard how quickly you go to green. As soon as that pace car comes in, it's almost near instant as soon as he takes a hard left in the pit road. Pace car is in. Green flag is out, and we are racing Smalley out, leading the front of this single file restart as we are approaching turn one.
Smalley got a great launch. Roberto Ramirez, not so much. He's fallen all the way back. Marcus Adams around the outside. Here comes Joe Francis around the outside as well as they go through 1 and 2. Everybody's super spread out. They want to make it a lap, if not more than a lap.
I believe there'd be a little bit more passive on the turn one, trying to not have another repeat of the last caution as we are getting closer to turn two, as Ramirez and Crane are nearly bumper to bumper as we exit out of turn two.
Oh, Cronky got wide, able to hang on to the race car, though. Marcus Adams, a little slippy as well in the third spot. Joe Francis in fourth. Then it's the 32, Lucas Strayer, in the fifth spot. A good rebound for him. He's gotten a lot of help from the cautions. But here he is now, inside the top 5 in that 32 machine. As whoa, Johnston really sideways off at 3. Great save for him as he hops back in line.
Unsure what happened there, but glad he was able to hold on to it as we see Cronky right behind him trying to catch up to Kyle. And we got Adams and Francis as they're getting real close to each other here. I believe Francis is going to try to make the move here on Adams on the back straight. If not, then he'll definitely be looking for it into turn 3. I believe he's got a little bit of a faster car than Adams.
Just got confirmation. We go back to double file restarts now that we were able to make it a lap. So we will be having a double file restart at the next caution flag, whenever that will be, as the field comes through turn 3. Marcus Adams with Joe Francis all over the back bumper of that car. Kyle Smalley, Indy snaking it down the front straightaway. I mean, the 50, shoving the 31. Here comes Adams underneath Cronky for second.
And we're going to see maybe a little bit more of those bumps as we get deeper and deeper into this race. I'm glad that they're doing it before we get midway through turn 1, so we don't see any more spin-outs.
Adams has to get back in line down the back straightaway. Here comes Strayer now, looking to the inside of Joe Francis. Big run for him. He gets the apron and gets loose. He's going to lose a ton of time off of 2.
And just unfortunate that he caught apron there. I thought he was going to be able to make the move past Francis as he's fallen behind, as Ramirez is looking to get past him here as we go out of turn 3. And it looks like he will, as he's Indy snaking it along with the leader.
Lucas Strayer goes from 5th all the way back. He's going to be 10th with Kyle Manger on his back bumper heading into turn number 1. So Lucas Strayer pays the ultimate price as the 46 of Michael Elliott catches the apron. Looks like Strayer might be able to get one back here off of turn 1 as he gets a little sideways. Kyle Smalley just having fun out in front, just Indy snaking it, pulling away from everybody else. But the battle is still second on back. Cronky, Adams, Francis, and Wishon in P5.
As we saw 83 there, we saw Wallace make his way up past, I believe that's James that he made the move by. As we get ready to go into turn 3 here, hopefully we can keep it off the wall as they get on the front stretch here.
Got one absolutely smoking it up on pit road. Trying to figure out who in the world that is, because they're basically crop dusting the front straightaway. It's not Robert Rayner, it's Jaron Hazen, it looks like, that is absolutely just hand grenading. Somebody is hand grenading down the front straight, or down on pit road. I think they just shut the car off finally to stop the smoke screen down the front straightaway. I believe it was or Hazen's car, rather, in the 40, not the 45 of Wishon, who's in 5th right now. Having a good run for that 45 team.
Yeah, that was Hazen in there, just smoking it up. Nobody could see it on the front stretch. Wonder what happened. I wonder if his car just finally died, because we've seen so many drivers getting collected from these big one crashes, and I think his car just said no more.
Well, whatever he's out and in the box for 3 minutes. Worrell's been in the box for 3 minutes, as has Robert Rader. Worrell's had a tow. He's been in on pit road for almost 6.5 minutes. Robert Rader closing in on 6 minutes as well. We talked about the fact that Rader's day is already done here tonight. Still a battle from second on back, as Kyle Smalley has a half-second lead over Cronky in second, and then there is the rest of the pack. Adams, Francis, Wishon, the rest of the top 5. Then Roberto Ramirez, Lucas Strayer back in 7th. Kyle Manger, Derek Lemke, Richard Lekawa, the top 10, as we are just 3 laps away from the halfway point.
As we're approaching our halfway point, we're seeing a lot more of those Indy snakes out there. I think he's just trying to keep himself awake here, because he's had restart after restart here ever since he was able to beat Houston out in the pit road. I believe it was on the second or third caution as we approach the back stretch here.
James Lowe bounced it off the fence in turn 2 a few laps ago. He's on pit road getting service to that number 99 machine. As the field rolls it through turn 2, James Lowe, actually, he just parked it. He's had enough. He's gone home. So no more racing for the driver of the 99, who had a great run last week at Nashville.
Just seeing a lot of unfortunate cars packing it up and going home from just the amount of huge wrecks that we've had here at Pocono, as we're 2 laps away now from the halfway point of our race. And Jacob, who do you think is going to walk away with it here tonight?
Well, it's still too early to tell. Kyle Smalley still has to make a pit stop, as does Alexander Cronky. We'll see that in about 10 laps or so. Marcus Adams has been strong. J.R. Houston was the dominant car of the day early. He has not been able to get through traffic the way I anticipated him to. Even now with this long green flag run, he is stuck back at a box in the 14th spot. He has not gained much of anything from where he started, as Gavin Hibbs bounced it off the wall off of 2. He'll lose a few spots, but keep it rolling. I think this plays right into Marcus Adams' hands, depending on when a caution comes out, because if a caution comes to help out Smalley and Cronky, so everybody gets on the same strategy to make it to the end, then I think it's going to be down to the driver of the 5 car.
I'm looking for Lucas Strayer to snag a win here today, as I believe my notes are hopefully correct this time around. I believe he qualified 29th, and he's currently sitting 5th, as he's been pushing through those cautions and making his way up the track and having some pretty decent battles out here tonight. And I believe that, like you said, we got one more pit stop approaching us shortly at about 9 laps now, or 10 laps as he said, and whoever can get their faster crew and whoever doesn't need the most repairs will most likely be helped out here majorly.
Kyle Smalley continues to lead the way, but Cronky has closed the gap in. Here he goes to the inside for second. Alexander Cronky looking for the lead. We'll see what he can get here coming off turn 1. Smalley round the outside, draws it even off the corner.
Whether they were able to hold it side by side as they were getting into turn 1 and see if he could find the move here past Smalley as we approach turn 2. He's got to hit it just right. And I believe Smalley's going to be closing the door here as he's going to start breaking away again. As Kroenke gets him, I believe he might have touched Adams there, coming out of 2. As he's looking to get back into his second spot, trying to get back into that single file line, catch the draft of Smalley again, and try to make another move.
Kroenke just about put Joe Francis in the fence coming off turn number 3, trying to get in line. He's almost going to reciprocate that to Strayer. And now here comes Wishon around the outside. Kroenke might have a gap here in front of Kyle Manger. Never mind, that went away. Manger did not leave a hole for him. But Kroenke's going to make one anyway, so he'll go from 2nd to 6th in 1 lap. And now here's lap traffic of Kevin Orlando Jr. as Kyle Smalley's going to get by him, but Marcus Adams has closed the gap tremendously. It's down to 1 car length in turn 2.
Adams is getting real close here, but Smalley, he's just hitting that turn 2 masterfully. He's making time every time he gets out of turn 2. Wonder what he knows that the other drivers don't.
Look at this stack up from Adams on back. You got Francis, Kevin Orlando Jr., the red and gray machine on the outside, the lapper. Lucas Strayer here now pushing Francis down the front straightaway. Jared Wishon is there. Kroenke's still there. Kyle Manger's still there lurking at the back of this group.
We're getting a little bit aggressive there. Seeing lots of bumping and shoving. We come out of turn 1 here. And this is a pretty nice stack of we're bumper to bumper, door to door here. Everybody's trying to look for that move, get a little bit more points out of this race as they can, and not trying to make another caution out of it.
Marcus Adams thought about making the move going into turn 2, but he thought better of it. Seeing the last couple of attempts, try and make a pass in turn number 2 for the lead, and you lose about 4 or 5 spots in the process.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. At Pocono, you gotta.
Caution. Caution is out. It is involves Holt Johnston, I think. Just heard Nick Olson come over the radio and apologize about netcode, or as I call it, arrow loose. And yeah, it's contact between him and Holt Johnston, and Johnston goes around in turn 3. I don't know why that's a caution, iRacing, but it's a caution. This is the most NASCAR caution I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he saved it pretty well. I don't understand where the caution came out, and it does just look like he may have gotten netcoded, because I don't think they were even close enough for contact. Let's take a closer look here. Yeah, they don't even touch.
Just a little bit of arrow loose. That's all it takes. And that does it for Holt Johnston. He's able to keep the car righted, though. Doesn't get much damage. But this caution plays into the hands of somebody like Kyle Smalley, who is leading the race. And we'll see what happens here getting onto pit road, as this pretty much is going to be the money stop unless a green-white checker comes out. Then it's going to be interesting to see if they can make it on fuel. They should be able to make it from here to the end without a problem, since Smalley has yet to pit, and we're on lap 44. He's made it past halfway. So here we go. Everybody coming on a pit road, trying to make this the last pit stop of the night.
Yep. Oh man, just the state of, I believe, who is that without their front bumper? Who just left their car out there? Can't really tell. My sim just crashed.
Pit stops going on for these guys right now. Looks like everybody is taking the 4 tires and fuel. Nobody going to try and do anything fancy for the most part. As I say that, Casey Heschel only took. And J.R. Houston, with a 7-second pit stop, takes the lead. So J.R. Houston's going to leapfrog about 12 cars to put himself back on top. Only difference is that him and Casey Heschel are the only 2 folks that did not take 4 fresh tires on pit road.
Yeah, that was a little too quick. I blinked, and the next thing I know, he's out onto the road.
Interesting to see how this will play out for J.R. Houston, if he gets eaten alive by the rest of the field or not. So, we talked about that we have him waiting to come up into the broadcast booth. Robert Rader, the driver of the 53, who's had a rough night pretty much since the drop of the green flag. Just collected an incident after incident after incident. Car officially killed now. Robert, not the night that you were looking for, but nonetheless, I'm interested here on your perspective with some of the strategy. Only two guys deciding not to take four tires on what's probably going to be the last pit stop here. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, we had some bad luck, but thanks for having me. No, the strategy's pretty good here. I think he won 4, but JR got himself in a hole early on here, taking right sides twice in a row on accident. So my guess is that JR took left sides here so that way he could try to balance things out a little bit, but there's no telling what that's going to do to the car. I can't imagine he'd take right sides again and have 46 lap old left side tires. But it'll be interesting. It's going to take something to beat Smalley here, though. He's just too fast.
Smalley has probably been the fastest guy on the racetrack when Houston wasn't out in front since that second or third caution came out. I'm interested to hear your point of view, since you were on the racetrack when a lot of the chaos was going on. Just guys being too aggressive, or just a lot of mistakes early on? What caused those first 6-7 cautions that we had?
Yeah, well, a racetrack like this where you have high speeds and you're braking hard on corner entry. You got guys who are just not used to each other's braking zones and getting into each other. But when you're in the draft now with the aero package, how it is, the car gets super tight, and you're seeing a lot of guys who are getting tight off the corner, and then all of a sudden the car bites and they get really loose, and then that's causing stack ups, or they're coming down the track and getting guys, and we're seeing a little bit of that too.
I'm curious, do you have a pick to win the race out of everybody that's left?
Yeah, I think Smalley is the easy pick, so I'm going to avoid that. And I'm going to say Marcus Adams has been really strong. He's been really fast all season long and had some bad luck. And I think he can get several more wins here, maybe get one tonight.
Well, we wish the best of luck to you in the future races. I know we won't be back covering a race for a little while. Green flag's back in the air. We'll see you at the All-Star race, whenever that is, at Indianapolis, and then at Indianapolis for the road course race later in August.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
You as well.
Robert Rader, driver of the 53, who unfortunately tonight will not finish. He's going to be way back in the field right now, scored in the 28th position as the field comes off turn number 2. Turn number 1. Lucas Strayer about lost the car. He's going to lose a dozen spots or more. Kyle Smalley to the lead. Marcus Adams pushing him. It's a Starlin pack in 2.
As he's able to just take it from the push there, as he's right back into his first spot. As I know Houston is not going to go down without a fight. He's going to be looking everywhere to take that number 1 spot back, as he had a really good pit exit and entry.
And Marcus Adams going to take the second spot away from J.R. Houston, and Kyle Smalley going to start snaking down the front straightaway once again with now 33 laps to go.
As we approach turn 1, seeing 2 wides. As we have Houston on the inside line, we see a little bit of 3 pack ups in the back. As there you see.
Oh, trouble! Bolts Ramirez around, and it's huge. Hard in the wall, upside down almost goes Ramirez. Michael Elliott, the 66 involved of Creighton. Derek Lemke involved. Zach Lindgren is demolished. One car absolutely smoking. That is Ramirez. Roberto Ramirez with a hellacious shot. Justin Haley-esque. Just got loose coming off of turn 1. Overcorrected it and takes half the pack with him to bring out our 8th caution flag of the night.
Definitely going to be some front bumper souvenirs tonight, that's for sure.
Just got loose underneath The 49 of Casey Heschel overcorrected it. Lekowa in it. Calvin Allison in it. Gavin Hibbs in, I think, his 5th accident. He has been involved in everything but hitting a deer out in the forest, I guess, tonight. Nick Olson looks like got in this. Brandon Lawless. At least 8 cars involved. And turn 1, Calamity Corner. Once again, how Casey Heschel didn't get turned down the racetrack, I'm not quite sure. As Roberto Ramirez, hard slap to the inside, safer barrier. Zach Lindgren took a hard shot to the inside wall as well. Michael Elliott, John Creighton absolutely clobbered it with the left-hand side of his race car. Driver's side first, right on the end of the wall. And thankfully, they were able to make it more than a lap, so we'll still have a double file restart at the end of this deal. But another massive crash, and that's going to cut this field basically in half.
Just an unfortunate overcorrection of their car, and man, I don't know how Casey didn't get turned either. I guess the iRacing gods must have been smiling upon him and said, nope, your car is going nice and forward today.
So we're back under caution here at Pocono. Kyle Smalley continues to lead. We've got a couple takers to pit road. Nick Olson is one. Casey Heschel is another. Calvin Allison in. That's pretty much the extent of it. Then Creighton, Elliott, everybody else in the back that was involved in that crash. As pit road is a busy place, and a lot of those cars aren't going to make another competitive lap tonight.
I believe we'll see 2 or 3 drivers just taking off the helmet and folding up the gloves tonight after another big one like that again. I believe you said it was 8 cars just got collected there, so unfortunate to see.
We'll have a restart inside 30 to go. And we're going to have, I think, 5, 6 cars. I think it's 7 cars that haven't been involved in an accident tonight. Maybe 8. I don't think Lucas Strayer has been involved in an accident. Hibbs is in 8th right now, and he's been involved in 4 or 5 of them. And then there's everybody else who's been involved in one of these last 3 big accidents.
Yeah, I know Crocky got door dinged on one of them, but he was able to get away freely. Was Wishing in one?
Wishon might have been in one.
Well, from the left
At
side
this
of
point,
his
it's
car,
tough
I'd
to
say.
tell. Ramirez parked the car, done. Derek Lemke parked the car, done. And we should get 1 to green this time with 30 laps to go. There you see Nick Olson coming off pit road. 20 cars are left on the lead lap. That's if Michael Elliott and Richard Lekowa can get off pit road in time. Michael Elliott is not going to make it off pit road in time. Let's see about Lekowa. Lekowa's rolling, so he'll make it off in time. That'll leave just 18 cars on the lead lap on the restart. Lekowa being the last of them. A lap down, Elliott and Orlando Jr. 2 laps down, Lindgren. 3 down, Lawless. Everybody else is out of the race.
Unfortunate that we started with so many drivers and now we're losing them piece by piece, caution by caution tonight. But that's Pocono for you. The 3-corner track.
Yeah, that crash in turn 1 reminds me of the crash here in 2014 in that same spot. Brian Vickers, Denny Hamlin taking about half the field with him. Tony Stewart, Paul Menard piling into him. I was at that race, and it was depressing watching the field come back around as a Tony Stewart fan and not seeing Stewart's car come back around with it, realizing he was on top of Paul Menard.
Unfortunately, I did not see that accident, but maybe I'll take a look at it after this.
I guess you can say it was made up for with Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning the race, but Either way, field is coming off turn number 2, getting ready for the restart. We'll have 29 laps to go on the restart. It's been a long night for some of these guys, where they've pretty much been sitting around pacing for the most part tonight. I'm curious to see what that stat line is. We've had 8 cautions. Figure we get about 2 to 3 laps per caution. So we're looking at what? At least a quarter of the laps under caution, right?
Yeah, you would be correct.
Something like that. I was kind of hoping that the graphic would pop up on the screen, but it didn't. So can't check my math till later on. Either way, green flag's back in the air, and J.R. Houston is on the gas, taking us back to turn 1.
And Smalley with another good restart, as he's been on it just all day today with how many cautions we had, as J.R. Houston's getting the inside. Marcus Adams, as he's looking to take his spot back, as he's getting bumped.
Well, he got loose, and he had to lift, and he had nowhere to go. Francis on the outside, Manger right on his bumper. Manger to the inside. He's going to take it, and Houston's going to drop to 6th in one corner, as now Marcus Adams maintains the 2nd spot with Kyle Smalley out in front. Through turn number 3, Kyle Manger trying to claw his way up through the field in P5 right now, looking for 4th on the back bumper of Jared Wishon. As the laps continue to wind down here from the Turkey Triangle.
I'm glad he was able to save his car. We weren't going to go to a single file restart, because now we are now 1 lap after the caution that unfortunately happened a little bit ago. We go to turn 2, as we see Francis and Wishin having a good battle back there for the 3rd spot.
Here comes Manger now, looking to the inside of Wishin for the 4th spot. We've seen the inside line really not work for a lot of people. It works this time for Manger. He'll take position number 4, kind of sending it into the corner and getting a good enough launch off where he can take that 4th spot away and now focus on the back bumper of the 50 of Joe Francis.
Yeah, I believe Wishin ended up catching a bit of that wall on the exit of turn 2. As we get ready to go down to the front straight, as the leaders are pulling away, trying to make some space between them and the rest of the pack. As we get into turn 1 here.
Manger looking to the inside. Francis running the outside line. Manger going to try and get the momentum from the low side. He's got a chance, but not enough. As here comes Wishon right back to the bumper of the 25, as Chris Worrell has finally pulled the plug. He's done. He's been sitting on pit road for 25 minutes anyway, so it's not like he had a shot to win the thing. Looks like he's going to officially finish in 29th, or unofficially. Jaron Hazen still could get back out there. He's been on pit road for 25 minutes and hasn't moved. I doubt he's going to come back on the racetrack, but if he does, he'll pass Worrell and Robert Rader. Actually, I lied. Rader is back on the racetrack. So Robert Rader not completely dead. We thought he was, at least race contention-wise, but he's gotten the 53 back on the race course. 7 laps behind Keith Smalley, who was out. He's going to leapfrog a couple of guys and get some more points. So probably finish about 25th, 24th, depending on how many more people retire, with 26 laps to go.
Yeah, I wasn't sure why he sat in pit so long. I mean, his car looked okay to me after a couple of minutes had passed, but maybe he just had some internal problems that we don't know about, as we see JR trying to make...
Oh, James Cato. James Cato about caused another caution flag. He had that thing dead sideways coming off of turn number 2. I can't believe he didn't get run over and save that thing. It was crab walking the whole way. He could somehow hang on to that race car. I'm sure Calvin Allison's pants are a little bit browner than they were a lap ago. As here comes Kyle Manger to the inside for 3rd.
As he's pushing it, he's going to definitely be able to snag it here and hopefully close the door behind, Joe Francis, as they get back into single files. As we approach the back straight, 25 to go, and it's been a very interesting race. We've seen a few interesting pit stops and a few big ones, but the leaders, I'm pretty sure, have been sitting happy pacing for pretty much a quarter of the race.
Brandon Lawless has officially given up as well. He's done for the night. As of now, he sits 24th. Only person that could pass him will be Robert Rader. So 24th or 25th is where he's going to finish. As we got Lucas Strayer bouncing it off the fence. Coming off the corner. Gets it back going straight. Going to get passed by Casey Heschel. I'll close the gap for Calvin Allison behind him as well. Back to 1.
Yeah, these tires are definitely going to be given way out as we see more and more people getting collected by turn 2 and turn 3's walls. It's going to be painted rainbows by the end of this night. As we approach the back stretch here, as we see 3.
How about Manger with a run looking for second? Got a little loose. Not going to be able to slide up in front of Marcus Adams, but he's going to fit right back in line in front of Joe Francis, just barely going into turn 3. He's still going to peek to the inside. Francis going to get the run of the outside, and I think Manger might lose a spot, maybe not. He's able to slide back up in front off of 3.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was not able to snag it as we go into the front stretch here. Is Manger and Francis have been having a good back and forth trying to get into P3 here at Pocono as we approach turn 1. And unfortunately, my sim is just frozen yet again. There we go. Back onto the back stretch.
Manger still trying to get by Marcus Adams here, doing the best that he can. Adams now pushing Smalley into turn number 2, maybe trying to give him a little bit too much speed. We've seen that move work before a couple of times. I'll work at Auto Club about 10 years ago when Kevin Harvick pulled the move on Jimmy Johnson to win that race. At Auto Club Speedway way back in the day. As we're coming to 22 laps to go. Kind of the artificial bump and run instead of a bump and move you up the racetrack. I'll just push you into the corner and good luck trying to slow down.
Yeah, and there's not much room for error with the turns at Pocono, especially 2 and 3. If you overshoot it even a little, there's nothing you can do but lift, and you're going to be losing precious seconds. As we see the leaders have finally broken away from the rest of the pack here as we get into turn 2. Still have Smalley in front, Adams behind him, Manger third, and Francis and Wishing is your top 5.
As this top 5 has broken away from everybody else by almost 3 seconds. Right now, Alexander Kroenke is in 6th. 3 seconds back from Wishon. 4 seconds back or so from the race leader. So the winner is probably going to come from the top 5 unless we have a crash. JR Houston about was the crash. They're off of turn 3. That was close.
I'm surprised we didn't see a crash there. And that bump looks a little bit harder than maybe what my sim was saying. Because he's going to, I believe 47, I believe Johnson's going to be able to get past JR here. Because he's looking for the inside. Might get a bump from Hibbs. Or, excuse me, not Hibbs, excuse me. Cato. As they approach turn 2 here. And we're seeing a pretty good battle back here from these drivers tonight. As JR's got some front damage, and that's going to give Hibbs the opportunity to pass him here into turn 3. And
Jake Houston almost got wrecked by Holt Johnston. Johnston comes up in front of Cato, and they do a little bit of dancing down the front straightaway as Gavin Hibbs, with a car beat to hell and back, gets by JR Houston, who was the fastest car at the drop of the green flag earlier tonight. As Johnston gets back by JR Houston, slicing and dicing his way into turn 1 to get by him. JR Houston's shot of winning this race here at Pocono are way out the window.
And this unfortunate for that to have happened, but I mean, like we've been saying, these turns are extremely difficult. No room for error. As soon as somebody thinks that they have the move on you, they're going to try it. As he's fallen back behind, and I believe Cato's going to be able to get past JR here as we exit out turn 3 on the straightaway. They both got some damage, but JR's got some front and Cato's got some back damage as he falls in line. 19 to go as we approach turn 1 here.
That's all it takes. Is now here comes Johnston by Gavin Hibbs. That is for 10th on the racetrack right now. With who back up front, go right to the leaders, and Marcus Adams is back on the back bumper. Kyle Smalley getting into turn 2, but by the exit of turn 2, he's about a car length and a half behind him.
It's going to be interesting. I believe the more these tires are going to give out, they're going to have to get slower and slower into turn 3 or risk slamming it into the wall, as he's still snaking every chance he gets. So he comes down that front straightaway right into turn 1 as Manger goes on the inside. I believe he might be able to get P2 as we have JR going into the pits now. Might be getting some damage repaired on his front hood or front bumper. It gets door dinged, number 50 of Frazier and the 25 of Manger. Not too sure what happened there, as he's going to fall right behind Frazier into turn 2. That's going to push him down to P4 and Frazier into P3. Or Francis, excuse me. I apologize.
So Francis gets back by Manger. Just heard Kyle Manger complain on the radio about how difficult it is to try and pass somebody here. 17 laps to go. As Marcus Adams is just pretty much stuck waiting in the wings to get by Kyle Smalley. He's going to have to wait for the right time to get him. Otherwise, Kyle Smalley's just going to pull away from this thing.
I believe that this top 5 battle is just only going to be breaking more and more away, as we're starting to see more of lap traffic here as he's trying to take his run deeper into this race. Nearly 16 to go, or 17 to go right now, but as soon as they pass out into turn 3, it'll be 16 on the front stretches. It is going to be very, very close racing from the top 5.
Calvin Allison bounced her off the wall, coming off 2. Keeps the car rolling, though. As here comes the 31 of Marcus Adams, looking for the lead. Never mind, he gets back in line, so forget everything.
Wonder if he just didn't have enough draft speed coming out of the straight. I don't think, did Smalley end up any snaking that time? Or looking more towards that battle?
Nope, he didn't.
He did not. Wonder if they're just closing the gap out hard enough for him to where he thinks that an Indy snake might not be the best move anymore. Coming out of turn 2, as I believe we just saw Manger catch the wall again. But he's able to hold on, and that's going to push him way back, as Wishon is going to be able to sneak past him coming out into turn 3.
Joe Francis on the back bumper of the 31. Marcus Adams had a run. Just knows he's not going to be able to complete the pass on the corner, so I'm bothered trying to pull out. 15 to go.
Apologize about the delay. As we approach the back stretch here, I know Adams, he does have a little bit of a faster run like you were saying, but there's just no opportunity for him to make any moves unless he's getting really close to bumper. I believe his only opportunity he's going to get is going to be on that back stretch.
He can make it work getting down into turn number 1. They just drive right through the guy.
They could do that. But we're all out of commercials, too.
I don't know about all out. Plus, we could replay him if we want to, but 14 laps to go. And still Kyle Smalley out in front. 5-car train at the front of the field. Then you got to go 4.5 seconds back to Alexander Kroenke. As Robert Rader has made a pass. Made a few of them, actually. He's now 25th. 14 to go. He's going to get to 23rd 22nd, rather. Actually, he's going to make it all the way to 21st as long as that car doesn't die on him. So Robert Rader is going to go from finishing 28th to finishing 21st just by getting back out on the racetrack. Because Lindgren is still on pit road. Lindgren is on the same lap as Ramirez. Rader is only 9 back from Lawless, and Lawless is a lap back from Ramirez and Lindgren. Next car up the road is Michael Elliott, who is on the racetrack right now, and Lemke is 15 laps behind him and out of the race, so Rader will not catch him with just 13 to go.
Yeah, but it's good to see him back on track, though. I'm glad that he was able to get his car running. As we see, who is that without that front hood? Wasn't able to catch the number, unfortunately, because my sim is freaking out.
Update on the All-Star race, by the way. We're way off. It's at Auto Club Speedway in the next-gen car on July 26th. So, Four Corner Racing League is back on July 16th. What did I say? No. Okay.
July 26th. And then August 16th.
The FTF Saturday Night Super Speedway League acceptance on Friday, July 16th, 9 o'clock Eastern from Talladega. Then, the next thing after that is the Four Corners Racing League All-Star Race from Auto Club on July 26th at 8 o'clock. Then, the next race that we'll do for points for the Four Corner Racing League is August, when was that? The 16th of August? 16th. Yeah, August 16th from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I believe it is the road course. It should be the road course. Plus, we'll have other things that we can announce eventually. Who knows? But that's as much as we know. Plus, we've talked about it before. I'll say it again. eNASCAR Road to Qualifying iRacing Series Round 2. We're going to be over, we're taking our coverage here on STN, pushing it over to Podium 2. So you can join me, Kevin McAdams, and Sean Butler, with Zach Johnson, our producer, for the second round of the eNASCAR Road to Qualifying iRacing Series, along with the other guys doing the broadcast on regular Podium, Pike, Josh Lee, Evan Pasoko, and all them. Should be a fun time. And that starts up July 8th. So a week from Thursday, next week. Heck yeah. It's back. We're at Knoxville. Oh boy.
Knoxville Dirt Track. That's where they got us in the trucks for that track too. So that one's going to be fun as well.
10 laps to go. Pit stops. Who is that? Calvin Allison. And Lindgren just got on the racetrack, so Rader will only get to 22nd then, with Lindgren now on the track. But so Calvin Allison couldn't make it on fuel. Gotta think everybody else should be able to, though, right?
I believe they might be able to make it on fuel here. I mean, we only got 10 more to go. And I'm still unsure as to why JR ended up pulling to the pits earlier. I think he's just down on power and a little slow, along with that hood, hood damage. As the number 28 car might be a little bit faster, might be trying to make the move on him.
9 laps to go, and Marcus Adams is back to the back bumper of the 5 of Kyle Smalling. Problem is he's not passing him, which is the most frustrating thing in the world, the fact that he's not just trying to pass the stupid 5 car. Sorry, Kyle.
As we see Francis, finally got the name right, going to the outside as he falls back in line. Might be trying to make the move on Adams here. Maybe he might get some help from Wishon. A little bit of bump. Might be seeing some side-by-side with maybe 8 left to go once we hit that mark.
Adams is peeking. Here we go. Gonna try and block. He's there. Joe Francis to the inside. 8 laps to go, and we finally have a green flag pass for the lead. Smalley tries to put the block on Francis. Francis goes even lower, hits him, pushes him up the racetrack. Marcus Adams to the lead. Here comes Joe Francis on the bottom. He's up the hill, and Marcus Adams is clear.
What a move there. Francis and Adams, I thought we were going to see them all get collected there, but he finally gets past the number 5 as he was trying for the last, I believe, 10 laps to just look for the move and look for the take it. He finally gets it. Finally moves up to the front of the stretch. As we see Smalley falling behind to 3rd.
And now we'll see what Joe Francis can do in this 2nd spot, if he can try and get by the 31 of Marcus Adams. With 7 laps to go this time by.
As we approach turn 1, Marcus Adams, our new race leader. And I believe Francis might be trying to make a move on here as we see Smalley going to the inside. Will he have enough power to get by Francis here? He will not, as he falls back in line on the back stretch, the longest that we have here on our schedule. As I believe we're going to be seeing a lot more aggressive moves. As my radio is lighting up, all I keep seeing is Francis and Smalley.
Marcus Adams continues to lead with 6 laps to go. Joe Francis trying to spoil the party here in 2nd. In the 50 car, trying to get to victory lane here at Pocono. We'll see if he can do it. And don't forget, Kyle Smalley's pretty fast. He's sitting 3rd right now. He's going to have a few opportunities here as well to try and get back to the front.
Yeah, Smalley he was holding it pretty good for tonight, and he's definitely got the faster car. Let's see if he can catch these drafts with only 6 more to go and take his number 1 spot back. But from the looks of it, I think Francis is just throwing out the blocks as he's looking to the inside. They hold on, but he's not going to be able to make a move. Maybe he might find it here on the turn 3. He's getting real close to Francis here. Francis is able to hold his P2 spot as we come out of turn 3 back on the front stretch. 5 to go this time by.
Francis he had a good run through turn 3, just couldn't keep it up down the main straightaway. Here comes Smalley looking to the inside. Francis shuts the door on him.
Wishon, falling close behind as he might be looking to take P3 as he's able to keep up with Smalley here. As they come out of turn 2 and get ready to go into 3. Still got Adams out in front, Francis right behind him, and Smalley, he's looking for it. He's trying to get to the inside. He's there, but I believe he'll end up falling back in line here. 4 to go. This time by as we get ready to go into turn 1 here. As we see Smalley looking to the inside. Might have enough power to...
No, he could not keep it down there on the bottom at all. That's going to allow Wishon to close the door, and he's on the back bumper of the 5. And now Francis to block. Trying to do everything he can to just hang on to the 2nd spot as Marcus Adams now pulls away. Smalley going to send it into turn number 2. Look out, he's sideways. He's going to wreck Francis. And is the caution going to come out as he's dead sideways? Yes! Kyle Smalley turns Joe Francis around in turn 2 with 4 laps to go. And guess what? We're going to overtime for the 800,000th straight Four Corner Racing League broadcast in a row. Kyle Smalley immediately over the radio apologizing, says he wants the EOL, he wants to go to the back for that crash. And go figure, we can't just let this race play out naturally. Here's the replay. Just got too loose sending it in there. Had nowhere to go but slide up the racetrack into the 50. Such a good run for Joe Francis tonight.
Yeah, It's really unfortunate to see what had happened there. I heard him say immediately over the comms, "Give me the EOL for that," as he ended up bumping number 50 of Joe Francis, and oh boy, he ended up catching the back of that, or the front of that wall, the back of his car pretty good, but luckily nobody else was collected in that crash. Oh boy, what, we got an overtime streak going on for STN?
Not just for STN, but for the league. Let me go back here and look at the results. So let's see. Last week at Nashville, we went to overtime. Chicagoland, it looks like we went to overtime. Just because 128 laps is a goofy number. Yep, Chicagoland went to overtime. We didn't broadcast it. I don't think we were here for Sonoma. Sonoma went without overtime. Charlotte had overtime. We weren't here for Coda. And oh my goodness, everybody's pit. I did not think that we were going to see everybody come onto pit road, but it's going to happen here. And this is the money stop. If the last one was not the money stop, this ought to be good. Dover somehow did not have a green and white checker. Darlington did. I know Kansas did. Whew.
Let's see who walks away with it here.
Who's going to win the race off pit road? J.R. Houston and Calvin Allison. Remember, they pitted early. They stay out, and Jared Wishon wins the race off pit road. He's going to be third. Then it's Marcus Adams, Casey Heschel, and then Joe Francis.
You know, he's got to be happy about that pit stop. Finally moving up his spot, especially with trying to battle Smalley and Adams up there along with Francis. He finally catches a break.
But with the damage that J.R. Houston has, I can't imagine that this is going to work out too well.
I can't imagine either. He might be trying to throw up a couple of blocks, but it does not look hopeful.
So right now, first behind the pace car is Robert Rader. He's 28 laps down. He'll get waved around here to get one of his to get a lap back. John Creighton is the first car lap down. Kevin Orlando Jr. got the free pass in 18th. So we have 18 cars on the lead lap. Not a lot of them are without damage. J.R. Houston, the front end, all caved in on that race car. Calvin Allison's been in a few crashes tonight. Marcus Adams with a clean race car on the outside. Jared Wishon, his car's pretty clean. Casey Heschel's gotten in a few. Joe Francis, his car was clean up until 3 laps ago. Alexander Cronky's car is pretty clean. Kyle Manger's car is relatively clean. Holt Johnston has been in 1 or 2 crashes. Cato's been in a few. Gavin Hibbs has been in like 30 caution flags tonight, not of his making. He's just been involved in them. Nick Olson's been in a few. Kyle Smalley starting at the back of the field because of that last caution. He's 13th. He still has a shot to win this thing, keep in mind. Because I have a feeling we're going to burn through all 3 green white checkers like it's nothing.
I'd put money on that. I'd put my paycheck off of this onto that bet right there.
All right, Hex, who's your pick? Who wins?
Who's my pick? Who I think is going to... I think Wishon is going to be able to walk away with tonight's win if he can make the moves past Allison, and he'll have no troubles getting past JR as his front end is just caved in. What about you, Jacob?
Pace car is looking mighty good to me right now.
Yeah, he's able to master that hard left turn into pits.
Yeah. Producer Zach Johnson picks Calvin Allison. Second place in the outside row. Leading the outside row. Second place on the racetrack. Here we go. Remember, the next restart will be single file. Pace car is in. J.R. Houston going to need a bigger gap than that. He checks everybody up. They're stacking up. They're almost crashing. Green flag, 2 to go. This is overtime, 1 of a potential 3. And J.R. Houston has the lead. He's gone. Here comes the 45 and the 49 on the inside in turn 1. Teaming up for a moment is now here comes Marcus Adams around the outside. The 47's loose. The 49 is loose. They both save it on the bottom. We're still green and J.R. Houston with the big block. Marcus Adams gets to the inside. Still side by side for the lead, trying to put the squeeze on him. Houston has to give him room. Move the 31 into the lead. They make contact in turn 2. Up the hill goes both of them. Here comes Wishon with the run on the inside. Headed for turn number 3. Coming to the white flag this time by. J.R. Houston still in second. Marcus Adams out in front. They just have to make it back to the line, and this race is official. Off of turn number 3. Holy crap, they're going to make it. White flag, 1 lap to go at Pocono, and Marcus Adams has a 5, 6, 7 car length lead over Jared Wishon. They're side by side from J.R. Houston on back.
It's getting real.
Oh, trouble. Houston in the wall. Cronky in the wall. Back across the field. Cronky with a lot of damage. Joe Francis is sideways. He's able to hang on to the race car. And Marcus Adams is a mile out in front of everybody else. That's pretty much going to be it as they make it through turn 2. The caution flag is not out. They're going to let him race back to the line. Gavin Hibbs sideways in the back of the field. Somebody should get an ambulance for J.R. Houston. That was a heck of an impact into the outside wall as Marcus Adams rounds turn number 3. Comes onto the main straightaway. And Marcus Adams is going to get his second win on the season. Marcus Adams wins at Pocono.
Well, it looks like I just lost my paycheck.
Marcus Adams survives the chaos. And he was Robert Rader's pick to capture the flag first. And that's what he did. Marcus Adams with the win. Kyle Smalley rebounds to finish in 4th. How about this top 3? Adams, Jared Wishon, and James Cato in the 3. Comes back to finish 3rd. Nick Olson survives to finish in 5th. Lucas Strayer in 6th. Richard Lecco was 7th. Kyle Manger in 8th. Casey Heschel 9th. And Ferris Shaw rounding out the top 10 as let's take a look at the rest of the results of tonight's race from 11th on back.
And then starting off on the 11th, we have, Orlando Jr., Francis in 12th, Allison 13th, Hibbs in, I believe, 14th. There we go. And then Johnston 15th, Weaver 16th, Alexander in 17th, J.R. Houston 18th after that big crash, Creighton 19th, Elliott in your 20th spot. And then we have
21st. Robert Rader, he was able to survive. He gets it done and finishes in 21st. Zach Lindgren 22nd, Derek Lemke 23rd. Everybody from here on this point basically out of the race. A few of them were still running like Rader, but for the most part they were all out. Roberto Ramirez in 24th, 34 laps down. And the rest of the order, Brandon Lawless out, Dorsey out, James Lowe out, Keith Smalley out, Colin Tuono out, Hazen out, Worrell out, Chris Webb out, Jesse Cottrell out. And that makes up the 33-car field. Again, these results are unofficial. As we will talk to some folks here after this race from Pocono, with Marcus Adams, Jared Wishon, and James Cato being on deck to talk to us. Right now, we're just waiting for him to pump up into the broadcast booth.
Yeah, Wishon jumping from 23rd to 2nd, Cato from 17th to 3rd. That's a hell of a battle.
get a replay of the crash in turn 1 on the last lap where J.R. Houston's probably going to get lifelined to the nearest hospital after this crash. Because, I mean, it was a hellacious impact. You're going to see him right here behind the 45. He just gets loose, makes contact with the 50 up the hill, and Kroenke nowhere to go. Back down, bounces off of Lekawa and off of Nick Olson. Here comes the 53, Robert Rader, just saying hello. A hard crash for Houston. Just trying to do everything he could, maybe a little too much, to try and get that car to finish up at the front. Instead, he comes home in 18th, way behind everybody else.
Nice. Such a hard hit. My man got
So a lot of hard hits tonight.
Phasing out for somebody.
Let's talk to our race winner, Marcus Adams. His second win on the season. Marcus, you had an interesting night to say the least. About half the field didn't even finish the darn thing. You were up at the front pretty much from the drop of the green flag. Take us through that final restart, because that's when pretty much all the money was on the line there for you.
On the restart, I didn't really know what was going to happen, because I didn't know if Calvin, I didn't know if he was down RPM or how much damage he had. So once I got clear of the line, I just took it to the middle and hoped that I did not wreck or, yeah. Hopefully I didn't cause a wreck or get wrecked.
Well, since you were out in front, you really didn't get collected in any of the accidents that happened tonight, but certainly you were around a lot of competition that just got caught up in some of them late. Kyle Smalley with that wreck to set up the green light checker. J.R. Houston was fast earlier on in the night before he picked up his damage late. Do you think that you were going to win this race, I don't know, about halfway through this thing?
Well, at every 1.5 mile track and bigger, I think I can win every race. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but I know I can contend at those tracks. But tonight, I didn't think I was going to win because the draft was so strong. Like, down the front stretch, you just got a huge run, and if you tried to take it and didn't clear the guy you were passing, you just get freight trained.
And before we send you on your way, anybody you want to thank or say hi to?
Balls out. Obviously the team. Joe, he cut me a lot of breaks on one of those runs. And use promo code FCRL 2021 to get I don't know. And the guys who paid for Chris Webb and Duck Press Media.
Well, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks at the All-Star race. Best of luck to you in the next couple of races. Marcus Adams, race winner here at Pocono. Second place, Jared Wishon, standing by with Hex Valentine.
Jared, congratulations on finishing P2, working your way up the field. If I'm not mistaken, you qualified 23rd. Take us through the process of that battle, making it all the way up to P2 tonight.
Yeah, we didn't have the best qualifying effort, and it put us behind early, but we put it on that first caution, and then we just kind of stayed out the next few cautions and eventually cycled to the front. Once we got the track position there in the top 7 or so, we was able to stay there for the rest of the race through all the cautions. And I was hoping we didn't get a caution there at the end when the 4 of us broke away, but we still walked away with the top 5, because coming in, I just wanted the top 20 because I figured I was going to be bad here. So coming away with a second feels like a win.
I mean, from as hard as you had battled tonight, I would put that in a W in my books as well.
Yeah, it feels great.
Yeah, with as many cautions as we had tonight, it makes you really almost passive when you're trying to push through these corners and stuff. What would you say was the most difficult aspect of the track tonight?
For me, it was keeping the right front on it. There on that long green flag run, I started to get really tight, and I think the 25 got tight in front of me and hit the wall, and I didn't think me and him was going to run that pack back down because I was just plowing off 3 and couldn't get a run on the straightaway. But luckily, he kind of pushed me up to them, and then I think he fell off of it. But it was definitely battling with the right front all race.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, when we took the trucks out here at Pocono, they were just struggling with this track. But is there anybody you wanted to thank tonight, Jared?
Yeah, I just want to thank Zach for being on the car with the interesting paint scheme and for the speed because he's usually good here and I'm not. So I think him being on the car gave me the speed. I got to thank Circle B Diecast fans for support all year. They're usually on the car, but tonight they wasn't. So I got to give a shout out to them and thank you guys for broadcasting and Kyle and JR for putting the league on.
Very interesting paint scheme indeed. But congratulations, P2 tonight, wishing. And I hope to see you finish strong as we go to the Indy course on the 16th.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Jared Wish and P2 here at Pocono.
James Cano finished third tonight. A great top 3 performance for him. And James, you pretty much appeared out of nowhere, at least on my radar. You had a great run here late in the going, had a lot of cautions to dodge earlier on throughout the race, though. Take us through them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like second or third caution of the race. I was trying to check up and turn down to the left, and I got involved a little bit, and a bunch of people come piling in, and I was down like 15, 20 RPM the rest of the race there, and we got that long run there towards the end, and I was pretty much, the best I was going to do was like 8th, the worst I was going to do was 11th, so I was happy with that. When that last caution come out, I was like, oh man, this ain't gonna be good. And then I just picked the right line, had the draft, and was able to drive it home third somehow. I mean, that was all luck.
Take us through that last restart. A lot of chaos going on with the green and white checker. Did you think that you were going to make it back to the white flag, or did you think, we're going to get another restart anyway, so this isn't going to matter too much?
I figured it was about a 50-50 split. You know, I was right there, I think like 8th or 10th on the restart, so I was right in the middle of it. And I just stayed in the same lane I was in, and like I said, they white flag lap, they wrecked down there in turn 1, and it just cleaned them out in front of me, and I was able to keep my line, drive on through.
And before we send you underway, anybody you want to thank or say hi to?
Chris Webb for sponsoring the race. You guys for putting it on. Kyle and JR, Ryan, all the guys behind the scenes here at Four Corners Racing League. Circle B Diecasts, everyone that helps out. Jesse, Gavin, Holt, Richard, everyone at Strictly Stock Motorsports. If there's someone I'm forgetting, then I'm sorry, but thank you guys for broadcasting this, and that's about it, I reckon.
Well, congratulations on the third place finish. We won't see you for a little while. We'll see you for the All-Star race at Auto Club in a couple of weeks, and then for the points race at Indianapolis next month. But or I guess it is still June. In August, then we'll see you next. But best of luck in the meantime, and we'll see you when we see you. How about that?
Yeah, man, sounds good. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good night.
James Cato, third place here at Pocono, the Tricky Triangle. Final thoughts here, Hex, before we wrap this up.
Lots of yellow flags, lots of hard crashes tonight, but it was definitely a very, very exciting race to watch here tonight, Jacob.
That wraps it up here from Pocono. Don't forget to use promo code FCRL2021 for free shipping on all orders over $20 at CircleBDiecast.com. Again, that's promo code FCRL2021 for free shipping on all orders over $20. Marcus Adams, your winner here from Pocono tonight. We will be back with, the All-Star race. I had to think about it for what's next. No, I'm wrong. FTF Saturday Night Speedway League, except it's on a Friday, not a Sunday, a Friday, from Talladega. That's July 16th, 9 o'clock Eastern. Then the All-Star race for the Four Corner Racing League at Auto Club. That's July 26th at 8 o'clock or 8:30 Eastern. And then August 16th, we're back at the Indianapolis Road Course with Four Corner Racing League, 8 o'clock or 8:30 Eastern Time start for that as well. For Hex Valentine, our producer, Zach Johnson, I'm Jacob Pitts. Marcus Adams, your winner from Pocono. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Till then, good night.
Good night, everybody.